Good day everyone, I'm Joshua Sotapel and for today's video we will be discussing with regards to Marpol Annex 1 to 4. So first, let us know what is Marpol Conventions. Marpol Convention is the International Convention of the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, or Marpol. It's the main international conventions covering preventions of pollution of the marine environment by ships from operational or accidental causes. The Marpol Convention was adopted on November 2, 1973 at IMO. The Protocol of 1978 was adopted in response to a spate of tanker accidents in 1976 to 1977. As the 1973 Marpol Conventions had not yet entered into force, the 1978 Marpol Protocol absorbed the apparent conventions. The combined instrument entered into force on October 2, 1983. In 1997, a protocol was adopted to amend the conventions and a new Annex 6 was added which entered into force on 19 May 2005. The Marpol has been updated by the amendments through the years. The conventions include regulations aimed at preventing and minimizing pollutions from ships, both accidental pollutions and that from routine operations. They currently include six technical annexes. A special area with strict controls on operational discharge are included in most annexes. So first, let us know the Annex 1. Annex 1 is the first implementation made by the Marpol Conventions, one of the most important international marine environmental conventions. The conventions was designed to minimize the pollution of the seas from ships. The objectives of the convention is to preserve the marine environment through the complete elimination of pollutions by oil and other harmful substances and the minimizing of accidental discharge of such substances. The Marpol Annex 1 began to be entered in force on October 2, 1983, and it details the prevention of pollutions by oil in oily water. When the oil gets into the water, it spreads quickly over the surface of the water, and the intensity of the pollution depends on the relative density and composition of the oil. The result can be disastrous as oil sheen on water has a significant impact of sea animals and humans. Any oil spill not only affects the current marine environment but also impacts the marine species in coastal organics subject. Marpol Annex 2 Regulation for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances in bulk. Annex Annex 2 came into force on April 6, 1987, and it contains discharge conditions for categories of noxious substances and requirements applicable to the constructions and equipment of the ships carrying such substances. Unlike oil, most chemical or noxious liquid will mix with water and not easily separated from it. The main principle of Annex 2 is to dilute cargo residues in seawater to prescribe limits depending on their pollution hazard and facilitate the distribution of discharge by utilizing the wake of the ships. Marpol Annex 3 Prevention of pollution by harmful substances carried by sea in packaging form, which came into force on July 1, 1992. It contains general requirements for the issuing the details standards on packing, marking, labeling, documentation, storage, quantity limitation, exception, and notifications that present a serious risk to the marine environment as well as guidelines for identification of harmful substances. For the purpose of this annex, Harmful substances are those substances which are identified as marine pollutants in the International Maritime Dangerous Goods (IMDG) code, or which meet the criteria in the appendix of Annex 3. Marpol Annex 4 is Prevention of Pollution from Sewage from Ships, entered into force September 27, 2003. It contains requirements to control pollution of the sea by sewage. The discharge of sewage into the sea is prohibited, except when the ship has in operational approved sewage treatment plant or when the ship is discharging comminuted and disinfected sewage using an approved system at a distance of more than 3 nautical miles from the nearest land. Sewage which is not comminuted or disinfected has to be discharged at the distance of more than 12 nautical miles from the nearest land. And that's all for today. Thank you.